How to get into flow state every single morning, how to get into your work so quick that you literally don't even understand what's happening until you wake up and you're just halfway through your shit. That's what we want to happen. Why does that not happen every morning? We're gonna go through that in this video. And if you want to take stimulants like coffee and chug nicotine, you can, but it's not necessary because we're working on mental psychology, brain wiring. We're talking about that shit that your grandparents used before they realized that they could get the same amount of juju from an iPad they would get from hiking across the country. That's what we're dealing with right now. We're pretty much a bunch of people who have these little boxes that can hijack our brains and give us a bunch of just stimulus from a little device in our palm. Our grandparents had to go across the entire world to get that same amount of stimulus in their brain, dopamine. So we're gonna talk about how to hijack that for yourself, how to hijack your brain, how to move forward. You have a morning routine. You know you gotta be good, productive in the morning, but you don't want to give up your girlfriend. You don't want to give up the love you have for the games you play, for the things you enjoy in life that give you that fun, video games, whatever. You have a little bit of them in your life. It could be just a girlfriend. It could be just games. I'm not a big fan of games, but I think that with girlfriend, you can definitely get that dopamine up from just spending time with her, especially for a full day. So you don't want to give this stuff up. You've heard dopamine detox. You're like, that's gay. I don't want to be locked in a room my whole life. I don't believe in monk mode, Jack Hopkins reference. And your problem is the day after the fun, you don't want to do anything because the things you did were so fun on the day before. So you wake up and you're about to go to your task list, and the task that you're working on is just boring as shit. And you're trying to figure out how to get into it, but you find it hard. Here's what you do, or what most people do. Most people take that lack of energy toward their goals, the lack of drive toward the first step. It could be just brushing your teeth, it could be opening your task list, whatever. That lack of work as a means for them to change goals, change direction. I'm gonna kill this mosquito. He knew he would die. He knew it was rats. That mosquito couldn't get me because I'm fully fucking protected. That's why I have this whole hoodie on. Even my socks are covered. Ain't no skin showing at all. I'm not getting bit. I refuse. On my face, I have to be. You have to sneak in here. So, most people take that sign toward the small tasks they have. Let's say they want to go open their notes app, or they want to go play a podcast that's like boring for them to listen to, whatever it is. That does not happen. Their brain is not engaging with the work. They're not in flow state. It's frustrating for them. So they take it as a sign to change paths, to change tasks, to just scroll through Instagram. Maybe they should change careers. Bullshit. You're smarter than that. You know that this is not a matter of the task not being good, you not enjoying the task. This is about something else affecting your mindset that changed the way you view this thing. And if you can view this task differently, you can get it done. So the solution, I make it quick, is to increase the dopamine reward assigned with the task you want to do. Increase your brain's receptiveness, or the dopamine output for the task you want to complete, because your brain is unreceptive to it because you're so used to this stuff that was giving you a big ROI for one train of thought. What does that mean? Examples. You wake up and you're like, I have to do this checklist, I have to do push-ups, and I gotta do a couple of tasks on my business. They're boring as shit. You don't want to do it. Your mind is just like, I want to lay here. I'm not into none of that. You open your phone, YouTube was looking super enticing. Instagram was looking insanely delectable. But you have to do your tasks. How do you make your tasks more interesting to the point where you actually do it? And sometimes you might be at the point where you just don't even want to start anything. You're just like laying there. You're not even opening Instagram. And you're just kind of scrolling through TikTok trying to get a dopamine hit because your brain is receptive to more than what you're getting. And you're at a lower amount of input of dopamine than you used to. So, when it comes to that task, you can add a slowed podcast on top of it. For me, when I play a podcast, it gets me to think. I can run a slowed one that I'm interested in at 0.75 speed and put it in the background of every task I'm doing. And even if I don't play the podcast the entire time, it gets my brain running toward the task. The second thing could be just sunlight. If you go outside with your phone in your hand with the task you can do, sometimes you have a notes app, sometimes you have it in Notion, you can just walk and do it at the same time. Just having the sun in your face in the morning is like a super just energizing thing for me. It makes me more energetic in general. Next, it could be do a phone call. If you have a task you gotta do, you could call someone at the same time as doing the task and speak to them at the same time as starting the task. Now, think about this like an engine. So when you start your car, you have to use your battery to start the car, but once the car is running, the engine can help to carry over on whatever energy is being used by the battery. So you don't need the battery to start the whole time. You don't need the starter the whole time. The engine can run once it's started, the same way you are towards your tasks. So in the morning, you're having a hard time getting started, try to find something that puts you on the right frequency to jumpstart your day. And once you're on that frequency, you can keep going without that thing. For me, sometimes if I'm bored, I'll run a podcast in the background at 0.75 speed. When I notice it's taking my attention away, then I'll pause it and go back to the work. But the jump start of the podcast got my brain on the level of dopamine reception so I can get action moving. So, what principles are this based on? This is based on the idea that every single path, all tasks you pretty much do, all of them have a dopamine give back to your brain. The issue is some of them give you more at one time and some of them give you less at one time. Playing a video game gives you insane, like it dumps chemicals on the inside of your mind like never seen. That's why they work. Games are built to make your brain feel like you're making progress, to dump dopamine in your mind continuously the entire time. It could be something as simple as opening a basket for a goblin, warlord. It's some regular, and you're really just pushing buttons. When you think about it, a video game is so much less engaging than life when it comes to inputs. The only difference is that the inputs are rewarded for. So dopamine response is higher. When you're out here thugging it, I'm sitting here on the beach, there's a pool in front of me, I can see it. I have so many more buttons, my arms and legs are like the equivalent of having hundreds of buttons on an Xbox keyboard, and I can push all of them at the same time. When it comes to a video game, it's like 6 buttons. And those 6 buttons, when you push 3 of them in a good combination, it'll ping you back, good job, great job, great job. Gives you progress, gives you a little bit of frustration. It's a movie created to make your brain dump chemicals. So, what you wanna do is add some of that to the task you want to do. And all tasks have this to some degree, they're just not all hardwired to dump that much in your brain. So what you wanna do is take the tasks that are giving you a little dopamine, let's say toward the business is like a little bit, let's say it gives you back 3 bits of dopamine per hour, like 1 work towards your business. Then your brain is hardwired on 8 to 10 to 20 bits because when you're with your girlfriend, kissing her on the mouth and stuff, you're getting a 20, 30, 40 RX RY on dopamine. You're getting like 90 bits per second. What you gotta do is pair the 3 bits of the business plus the 20 bits of the audio plus the 20 bits of doing push-ups, and all of a sudden you're getting a similar dopamine response for all productive things. What you're trying to do is give your brain reward for doing good stuff, but your brain's in a state of only wanting a higher level of reward. If I came to you and I gave you $1 a day for a year, for the first week, you'd be a lot more excited about that $1 than after 2 years, because you're used to the new stimulus and now you want to grow. Humans want more at all times. So what we're trying to do is satisfy wherever that person is at, wherever you're at, with more input to dopamine on the path. So, practical examples. You wake up, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you want to do what you're supposed to do. You go about it, your first thought is to be mad at yourself. Don't do that shit. You wake up and you just think, I need more dopamine. You think about, reflect on what you've done the day before. For me, on a Saturday, I spent the whole day with my girlfriend, napping, going on walks, chilling, hugging her, kissing her, going on walks, talking to her, real like fun, real lovey-dovey, watching her be cute, walk around, a bunch of stuff. The next day I woke up, I didn't want to do nothing. And the reason why is because the dopamine response I get from like just hanging with her and being in the presence of her and just hugging her, all this stuff, and just like talking to her, being emotional, being open, laughing with her, that's like super, way more entertaining, especially if I think she's beautiful, than me looking at a laptop screen and some notes. So, what I do, first I notice this. So once you notice it, that's like 25-30% of the actual problem. And then once I noticed it, I applied stimulus to myself and understood my brain wanted to receive more dopamine to move, and then I just added it on top. I played music, I started to watch a video in the background, I started to get my morning going, I started to walk forward, and then I also at the same time, an extra tidbit is to think about the fact that if your brain's not on your side, there is always a step you can take that's small enough to That's small enough for progress to be done with the max amount of attention you have. So let's say you don't feel like moving. You don't want to do X, Y, Z, right? There's always a step you can take if you go enough into gratitude and enough into self-realization that you can max out your attention toward that one small step. If I have a hard time getting up right now, running over there to that lamppost, right? I don't want to do that shit. If I put my full attention on just the one step, my leg moving a little bit to the right, and then my left leg moving a little bit to the right, I will eventually have enough of a jump start to get up and run. This thing is, you beat yourself up by comparing the end goal, I want to get to that lamppost, right? And putting all your attention on that end goal. You don't have enough attention, enough focus to overcome the final outcome, which is to get all of your work done for the day, to get all your morning started. But you do have enough attention to get over the outcome of the beginning of work, of the first step toward getting out of the bed. Move your leg to the right, move your leg to the left, rolling over in the covers. One by one, you break apart what you're doing. You can apply both of these thoughts together and you have 100% conversion rate every morning on actually making progress. Now, obviously 100% is kind of extra. The point is, you have a lot more great mornings and you have a lot more progress. So hopefully that makes sense. See you soon. Bow.